What's ripening YouTube? So I had a recent comment on a video, and the question that came up was, what are some of the negative aspects of syntropic agroforestry? So I've been thinking about that for a couple of days, and this is the kind of conversation that I have with people that I work closely with. We talk about, for better or for worse, what's, where are we going, which way should we go? And so I have a couple in mind of negatives for syntropic agriculture. I think the first one, and probably the most challenging one for me originally, was just access to the information. For those of you that know about syntropic agriculture, it was developed in Brazil, and so most of the source material was written in Portuguese, and that was a real challenge to try to, I don't know, I saw videos about it on YouTube and got really excited, but I couldn't understand anything they were saying. And so I went way out of my way. The first course that ever came up in English that I knew about was in Costa Rica, and I flew to Costa Rica and took the course and really enjoyed it. It was a big paradigm shift. I think that might be the biggest negative, is that just most people don't understand it. So even now, as I'm developing my own project and projects for clients, what I've seen is that people, most people haven't taken the course, obviously, because it's too new. And so I'm speaking a different language. I'm talking about things that are not fully understood, and I don't even think that the people, like maybe you guys as a viewer, I don't think most of you understand that you don't understand what I'm talking about. So that's a big negative, and we're trying to fix that. That's why we have a course coming up. I just announced that a couple of videos ago, and I hope to see some of you guys here, because I really want to have peers in this field, because I think it's really exciting. And yeah, I need more people. I've got my little core crew here, and I've been teaching them, and and that's been great. There's my dog Hula. She's out on the island. We're trying to dig a pond, and then the rain filled it up. So that's the biggest negative right away. The other one that comes into play is that it is more work. There's more to do when you take, like, if you're comparing to a monoculture, I guess I should say, if you're comparing to a grove, what I have here is a polyculture. So, and there's a lot going on, but what it really is a food forest in a linear pattern with more intent. So a lot of, the popular way to do a food forest is just to have one of everything and do everything and have the full diversity. And I've definitely grown out of that. I really like to do things more purposeful. And so I have specific main crops, and I have shorter term crops, and I have longer term crops. But there is more work involved if you compare it to a grove. A grove, like in this case here, I would plant these coconuts. I might put some mulch around them and some irrigation and fertilize, and that's it. That's all I got to do. But then this land right here would just be sitting here until these coconuts start producing. And that might be 5 years, it might be 6 or 7 years, 8 years. Land's expensive. It's really hard to occupy a piece of property and just sit there and wait. One of the beautiful things about syntropic and other types of farming too, is, polyculture farming or whatever, is that I can grow things in the meantime. So what I'm doing is, while my long-term crops are developing, I have short-term crops, and that's what I've done at my farm. If you watch my old videos, you can start with annual vegetables and go all the way out to longer term tree crops or whatever you want to do. in my context, because I don't have an irrigation system on this farm, I'm doing things that need less, and so annuals don't typically fall into that realm. But we do, you know, we've had big crops of bananas, pineapples, sugar cane, a fair amount of papaya, sweet potatoes, turmeric, and a lot of that stuff, honestly, the best part of that is the propagation material, because I use it on other properties, on other projects, and so, you know, that's kind of been the type of crop that I produce. But I can do all of that while the trees are developing. In this case, you know, this row of mango trees, some of these are, you know, like that one's only 2 or 3 years old, this one's 4 or 5 years old, and down the line, the oldest ones are about, I think, 6 or 7 years old. You know, it takes a while to get to that production, so doing a little extra work and cultivating the ground in between can get you extra benefit in the short term, and so you can get a return, especially if you're trying to produce your own food. So that's another negative, I guess, is that there's more work involved. One of the positives about doing a main crop type of agroforestry is that the work pieces, you know, if you do rows of mangoes and rows of avocados and rows, the maintenance becomes more understandable and more digestible and more transferable, which is one of my big interests, is being able to pass tasks on to my crew for them to be able to take it on and understand. Like in this case, you'll see this row is, we've got coconuts, dwarf bananas, we've got Napier grass growing on both sides. And because it's a consistent pattern, I can ask one of my guys, hey, go cut all the Napier grass and lay it in as mulch. Hey, go check every coconut and cut all the, you know, dead fronds off or whatever. Go check the bananas. We're gonna thin those out and pull pups for the nursery, and then we're gonna thin them to their main leader or their main trunk. That's something I can do. If it's a food forest, and also, by the way, the bananas are all the same type. But in a food forest situation, you might have 10 types of bananas and 13 types of fruit trees, and it's hard for a business, which is what I've developed now. It's hard for a business to send a crew to go do the maintenance, you know, which is usually pruning and harvesting, hopefully. Pruning and harvesting, and if everything's all cattywampus, different varieties of things, it makes it really complicated. And what I'm trying to do is get to a level of efficiency so that I can have a bigger impact for my clients and for agriculture, regenerative agriculture in general. So those are the negatives I can think of. One was it's hard to get the information, which we're working on. Number 2 is more work. But there's a reason for that. There's more work because we're trying to do more. You know, there's the old adage of you reap what you sow. So if you don't want to get more, you don't have to give more, and that's totally fine. I prefer to maximize the benefit from my land to a certain extent. There's always more you can do. There's always more you can, you know, play around with. You know, everyone's going to have their own context. And so what you'll see in my videos is my context or the context of my clients. What I don't want you guys, the viewers, to do is to assume that what I'm doing is right for you, because we're not the same people. We're not the same people, and we're not in the same exact location. So the things that I'm doing here, some of them are very specific to this site. Some of them are very specific to my own needs and wants and goals. And you can see I still have food forests. This is an area that we haven't got into to do our pruning. We had a hurricane and knocked out a lot of stuff. We've got a big store of biomass in here, and we're going to start harvesting that. I'm giving you the full walk around today. I guess I haven't really done an actual farm tour in a long time. Check this out. Here's a little raw sapote. I don't know if you can see that or not. Little raw sapote's got a bunch of big flowers on it. I'll tell you what's really interesting. This I don't remember what type of Garcinia this tree is, but it stood up to Category 4 hurricane like a champion. And it's also survived through like severe drought, versus this macadamia fell over, my bunya pine fell over. A lot of things got pushed over, but that Garcinia is a beast. I don't know exactly what it is. But anyway, that was response to the question. I appreciate the questions. Hopefully I answered that one well enough. There's probably other negative. Oh, another negative I can think of. Here's a bonus one. Because syntropic agriculture is new for this area, figuring out what service plants to use has been basically placed right there on my shoulders. It's taken me a long time to figure this out, what I can grow here well, and then where to get it, and how to get enough. So that's why I have like this whole field. You see all the Napier back there. There's Tithonia. I've got some plantings like this that I actually just let them grow out so that I have the propagation material, because not only do I need it on my property, but I need it for clients' properties. And I also send some of this stuff out in the mail. You know, if you guys have been on my website, from time to time we'll have something available because we're cutting it. And yeah, getting the material is taking forever. But now we have, like you'll see, you know, we use canna lilies as one of our biomass. These have all been cut down, so they're just coming back up now. We use the Napier grass, we use Tithonia. You know, when I first started, not all that stuff was available, and now it is. So I guess that's the third one, not being able to find the material. So hopefully that helps. See you guys next time.